Right, lesson 1, we're going to talk about transparency. I'm just going to put some paint, some French ultramarine on this sheet of paper. This is watercolour paper, hot cold press, what we call cold press. There's 3 types, there's hot press, cold press and rough paper. I like the rough or the cold press to paint with, but this is just to get us started. What I want you to do is maybe do 10 sheets like this, and you can buy blocks of watercolour paper in that have got 10 sheets and they're all stretched, glued around the edge, so as you each one you just lift it off with a knife and you've got another sheet underneath. But the idea is to put some paint on the paper and then see how the paper shines through the paint. So let's put a little bit of burnt umber and French ultramarine, and you'll see that as it dries the paper shows through, and if you put water on you can see where the paper shows through the paint. Now this is quite different to oil painting or acrylic painting or any other traditional painting, in that we've been brought up as Westerners to always paint to cover up underneath. So for instance, if we're painting a house and there's a mark on the gyprock, we paint over it so that the mark goes and it's all nice and clean. But with watercolour it's completely different. We want the paper to show through, and this is where the Chinese for instance have it all over us, because they have no problem with transparency, whereas we've been brought up, we've been indoctrinated almost with the idea that you should cover everything up with paint. So it sounds easy to get rid of that, but it takes a long time because it's ingrained in us. So it takes a lot of practice to make sure you keep the paper and the paint transparent. Now what I suggest to do, just to loosen up and to get the feel of how it all works, is to get a block of this, say 10-15 sheets of this paper, and just do what I'm doing now, completely abstract. Maybe use 3 colours, so you've got the colour wheel there, you've got some yellow, some red, and you've got the blue, and just play around like this and see what happens, and see how gravity works to produce different effects. One of your greatest tools in watercolour is gravity, and as you can see the colours running down, and you can mix the colours on the paper and you can let them run together and you get some beautiful effects, which is what watercolour is all about. So that's your first lesson, and if you feel as though you want to put something a bit more concrete in it, like a shape or something, we'll go ahead, but maybe we'll put a man and a woman. Let's put them here. Here we go, he's got his legs. She's got put a few verticals in just to practice verticals. There you go, look at that. See, we've got a picture already. And then when this dries you can add more colour. Let's put some more red in there, look at that. There she goes. That's more like it. She's got a nice red dress on. And the man is going to have... We've got our trees. But just to get the feel and to see what happens as we add the colour. This is a size 16 brush, it's a medium sized brush. That's what I would tend to use for this sort of exercise. You don't want anything too small and you don't want anything too big. If you use a really big brush it'll just become one big colour. And just play around, and obviously it's going to turn into a mud pie after a while, but you will have learned something. And it's a bit like learning to play the piano. You have to practice over and over again to get good at watercolour. You've got to get the touch right and know how much water and when to stop. And I have an easel which you can move up and down so that you can adjust the amount of gravity, and which way you can even turn it the other way so the water runs back the other way. And you can even make it so that it goes sideways. So this size paper is good because it's workable. You can actually pick it up, you can bend it, it's within your eye level. You haven't got to stand up. You've got your paint next to you, it's easy, you've got some water. So there's the first lesson, and it's very abstract but very useful, and you'll appreciate what it's done for you after you've done a watercolour for a while. Thanks very much.